is a performance art form with aesthetic and symbolic values. This week on Cameo, we will speak to Jamaican dancers about creativity, challenges, and monetization.
Everybody dance.
CEO and dancer of Dance Jamaica, Latonya Dillon, has been dancing for over 15 years.
Dance is art. Dance is talent given to you by God. You know, you're either born with it or people can learn. But for me, it's really a creative activity because you have to use your imagination to come up with moves, to come up with choreographies, to come up with just your whole attitude, your whole style, what makes you stand out from somebody else. And creativity is definitely the main thing in that sense. And in Jamaica, you know that we're pioneers, we're known worldwide for creating these exciting steps that we give creative names as well. And you know, the whole process is about being original, unique, creative, and stand out above the many genres that are already out there. You know?
Move on. Good? Killer, he's not a dancer, but he has a dance too. You know, he has.
Rambo Canambo, copy the cash for the tango.
Dance Jamaica is a talent and entertainment organization which portrays the culture of Jamaica and its vibrant people. Dance JA started out as a website with information about local dancers as well as international dancers who endorse, promote, who live the lifestyle of dancehall, which is Jamaica's core, original, created dance genre. And Dance J is just about promoting the dancers. We have a profile of each dancer, plus video clips of every dancer. We have a library of moves created by Jamaicans from A to Z. And it's also just showcasing music videos, events, anything to do with dancing and dancehall. The creative process is different for everyone because you have some dancers who just probably go out, party. Like for me, I make up most of my steps in the parties. Some music playing and you just dancing and then you're like, wow, that looks good to this song. And you keep doing it over and over until it becomes an actual move. You ask a friend to do it and when they do it, you see it's better, you know? But some people, even sometimes for me, I'm in the bathroom taking a shower and just come up with an idea. So the process is, it can be anywhere. I even sleep and create ideas. Wake up and just have, like I had a dream and it came up, a step comes to my head. And a lot of it probably is hereditary for some dancers because it's just in our blood and things, people are always saying like, yo, this person did that dance already, but it's just natural and it probably ties back to an African step. For example, Ice, he created the Gully Creeper. A lot of people will debate that it looks like Yanvolu, which is a Haitian dance. I'm sure Ice never went to Haiti or he doesn't know about that. But because of his African descent and background, he's forced to do something like that, you know, because of the music, what the music is, the beat, the rhythm, stuff like that. But everybody's creative process is different, yeah.
Love me now, love me. One beat, right here. Cause every time the music plays.
You can trademark your step, your name. Actually, trademarking a step is also a big issue right now because everybody is wondering how it's going to be done. And from what we understand, you only can trademark or copyright a choreography, which is the set of moves put together after you codify it, and it's a whole long procedure. So for me, I use written material It might be an informal way, but the book itself is copywritten, and I put my names of steps as well as illustrations of these steps. So this is a form of codifying it as well, and that's my way of saying, hey, this step I own it. You know, this is how it's done, step by step, and then I put the name of the step, so it's a form of codifying or owning it. Also, when we do shows, music videos, stuff like that, we are getting paid for our talent, our work. It's our job. There's a big lack of professionalism because of lack of education. So for me, that has a degree in business, I am able to price myself better. I'm able to create a business opportunity for this profession, this passion that we all have. A lot of the dancers are out there, people come from overseas and they're like, oh, I like how you dance, and they're just there teaching them for free, and that same person goes back to make money. As I say, it's lack of education, because a lot of them don't know about just business on a whole, and business is very important. You have to know how to market yourself. You have to know how to just basically anything to do with professionalism, how to talk to people, how to communicate with people. A lot of them don't know how to do that. So for example, my first big thing, which was going to Russia for the True Jamaican Camp, the person that wanted to do it reached out to me on Facebook, and she reached out to like 10 dancers and nobody replied. So I was the only one who communicated, and she wanted to come to Jamaica. And I'm like, hey, how about taking us to Russia? So, you know, I initiated something by just a conversation, and you have to know how to talk to people, and this same conversation helps with teaching. So you have great dancers, but they're unable to teach. They can't communicate with the students. They don't know how to explain, you know, to count. They don't know how to say 5, 6, 7, 8, arms up, arms down. They just dance because they're just passionate about dancing, but vocally, verbally, they're not able to express themselves and explain to these students. And a lot of the students want to be taught in a way that they can understand verbally, you know? But if we could come together, decide on a price range where we can say, okay, this is the cost for something, then everybody will be on the same page. We'll know what is the rate for this certain task or whatever. That will help to cover the monetary issues in terms of how much to charge people for stuff. Another thing is our own country, government-wise, accepting that we are a genre and that it's huge worldwide, and they probably could help us a little more with certain stuff. For example, visas. It's very difficult for us to get certain visas. A lot of dancers, like we need work permits for the USA. The work permits are not cheap, and the money that dancers make, they can't cover a work permit. For Dance Jamaica, we're actually, as you know, it's a dance studio, but we are turning the place into a cultural center. So it's actually now Dance Jamaica Cultural Center. So we're trying to promote not just dancing, we're promoting every aspect of Jamaican culture. So we're talking about games. We have Games Jam, which is just inviting everybody to come and play all the local games from then till now. So we have Dandy Shandy, we have Chinese Skip, we play marbles, and it's a cultural activity for group trips that come from Europe and Asia and all around the world. So we play games, we teach them how to use the bingy, we fly kites, stuff like that. So we're bringing them into the real job. Also, we plan to take classes into communities. We want to go into different inner city communities and offer a dance class. Hopefully we'll get sponsorships from some of these Europeans and dancers who come here. They always want to give back. So this is a way for them to give back. We try to go to inner cities and teach dance for free for the kids, but we'll try to get the money, get payment for it otherwise. So that's one of our big plans for the future.
Let's go, cause every time the music play, I wanna dance. Let's go, every time the music plays.
And that's it this week for Cameo. Even in the midst of our challenges, our creative industries continue to shine. I've been your host, Amita Pasad Webb.